Hello and welcome to our Retire Early lifestyle. Let's get started with the information you're waiting for. 5 real crime stories targeting Americans abroad. Crime story number 1. American tourist killed, another seriously injured in stabbing attack. Even in one of the safest countries in Europe, crimes happen against tourists. But several things stand out to us in this brutal attack. We think it could have been prevented, and we talk about this in many of our crime videos. But here's what happened. The incident occurred around 3 a.m., about 20 miles west of Lisbon, while the victims were returning to their hotel, according to Portuguese newspaper. 3 a.m. in the morning? Tourists out drinking and partying until wee hours of the morning in tourist hubs? The bad apples are just waiting to score. An American tourist was killed and another seriously injured in a stabbing in Portugal early Wednesday after a heated argument escalated into violence. During the altercation, one of the suspects allegedly went to his car, retrieved a bladed weapon, and slashed and stabbed the 2 tourists. The attacker struck the victim several times in the face, arms, and back before fleeing the scene. This is brutal, horrific crime. After identifying the group involved, investigators charged only one suspect, a 23-year-old Portuguese man with no criminal record who reportedly works at a nearby bar. This is very sad and tragic death, and we're sorry it happened, but we think crimes like this can be prevented. Had they not been out at night at all, or at the very least not been out partying this late, the victim would most likely be alive today. Just something to consider for all you young folks out there that think you're invincible. Young people do take more risks, and that is a fact. And there are many growing concerns about violent crime in the Lisbon region lately. Local media have even highlighted a concerning rise in violent incidents in the Lisbon metropolitan area. The Portugal resident noted that the killing of the American tourist coincided with several other unrelated violent crimes in nearby towns, including fatal shootings. Crime story number 2. American man robbed for his watch in Phuket, Thailand. Okay, everyone, here is another crime story that is completely preventable. The reason we like to show you these stories is for your education for when you travel abroad. Phuket police hunt foreign suspects in American tourist robbery. The police are investigating a brazen daylight robbery in Phuket after dashcam footage showed 2 foreign suspects deliberately ramming a motorcycle to steal from an American victim. The American was on a motorcycle and he was rammed and thrown off his bike, and that's when he was attacked and robbed by 2 masked men with a gun and a knife. Here's what Thai police said. Officers revealed that the victim is an American man in his 40s who was returning from Boat Avenue Shopping Center when the attack occurred. The American victim believes the suspects, who concealed their faces and spoke fluent English, deliberately targeted him to steal his luxury watch valued at over $72,000. The American lawyer was spotted at the mall by the thieves as he shopped. All they took was his watch and then fled. Clearly, this was a targeted attack. With all the information that is available to us today about foreigners being crime targets abroad, why anyone would be wearing expensive watches and jewelry in poor countries is almost unbelievable. This specific watch, for instance, is about 5 to 10 years worth of earnings to a local worker in Thailand. However, later in an updated article, they caught the robbers, who happened to be 4 British armed thieves targeting rich tourists in Phuket, Thailand. By the way, the American did get stabbed a couple of times before he relinquished the Swiss watch to the robbers. Do you understand the magnitude of these types of crimes against supposed rich foreigners? We've said this many times. Americans are already targets for a crime. Even if you have on only a $20 Timex and you're wearing holey jeans with flip-flops, you're a target if you're from America. So then imagine how much more of a target you become when you have a Rolex on your wrist among a bunch of poor people, or in this case, bad apple gang of thieves. Now, police did track the suspects through the CCTV footage and fingerprints from the abandoned getaway car leading to Friday morning arrests at a luxury villa behind the mall. Hussein, Wayne, Jan, and Malik were the 4 men charged in this brutal robbery. Right, that's some interesting names for Brits. Think what you will, that's what we say about that one. As an interesting side note, I'm going to show you this bit of information from the American victim after he was robbed. The American victim praised the investigation. I want to commend the Phuket police for their professional and efficient work. Well, that's good, that's nice. They tracked down the criminals and made arrests within just a few hours, he said. Then he went on to say, the incident doesn't affect my confidence because I'm certain Thailand remains a safe country for tourists. We say you might want to take off the watch or it will happen again. And did you just sweep this horrific knife attack robbery under the rug? Now, some people, they give off an air of being nonchalant in front of others, but we're pretty sure he was quite shaken up. That's reality. Wouldn't you be shaken up if a car rammed you and threw you off your motorcycle, and then 2 masked men attack you with a knife for your watch? Now be honest. Tell us what you think below. Crime story number 3. American tourist robbed for iPhone. Again, this is one of those stories where foreigners are walking around in dangerous, poor areas with valuables. Could this crime have been preventable? Well, you tell us what you think. The robbery happened in Belize City, which is notoriously quite dangerous. It's a place where you really want to watch yourself. These 3 young men from Belize City Southside are out on bail tonight after being charged in connection with the armed robbery of an American tourist who has since fled the country following the traumatic ordeal. So anyone who is attacked by a gang of armed thugs will be shaken up. And so the idea that one would promote a place as safe smacks of propaganda. No place is safe. If you behave in these ways, you will likely become a target. On October 18, 2025, a 50-year-old tourist from Los Angeles, California, was robbed at knife point near Mateo Park in the Kings Park area. The tourist told police that around 3 o'clock p.m., while walking along E Street, a beige SUV pulled up beside him and 2 masked men exited. One reportedly brandished a pocket knife and demanded, "Give me everything that you have." Fearing for his life, he handed over his iPhones valued at $1,200 US along with a wallet containing cash. The robbers then fled in the SUV. Now again, this was clearly a targeted attack. The thugs saw the man walking alone with an expensive phone and the opportunity was ripe for a robbery, and bungo! Fortunately, this American man lived. Many times armed robbery victims are not so lucky. But in this case and the previous case, both men gave up their valuables willingly, and that is probably why they're still alive today. Story number 4. Here we go again. Tourists poisoned by laced alcohol. Foreign Office issues methanol warning for 8 new countries. Travelers are being told to educate themselves on the signs and symptoms of methanol poisoning as more cases are reported. Now, excuse me, but this should not be happening, and anyone who participates in such evil practices should be prosecuted for attempted murder. The Foreign Office has expanded its methanol poisoning warnings to include 8 additional countries as fresh cases emerge. Ecuador, Kenya, Nigeria, Peru, Uganda, and Russia have now been added to the alert list alongside popular holiday destinations Japan, and Mexico. I would just quit going to any of these countries where this is happening. Vote with your feet. Show them where their real revenue comes from and not go to their place for vacation. About 6 months ago, we reported on the death of 6 beautiful young girls vacationing in Laos that died from alcohol laced with methanol. The deadly poisoning can prove fatal, with officials urging holidaymakers and vacationers to familiarize themselves with the warning signs and prevention methods while traveling overseas. Methanol is an industrial alcohol that gets illegally added to spirit-based beverages and cocktails by unscrupulous operators looking to slash costs, and even tiny quantities can cause permanent harm, such as blindness, or prove lethal within 48 hours. So here are the countries where bad apples are lacing the drinks with methanol. Be careful. Now, with these horrific cases of ethanol poisoning being so prevalent in foreign countries, we say, if it's opened, mixed, stirred, or offered, don't drink it. And yes, we coined that just now. The 5 most dangerous cities in Spain are the most popular with tourists and foreign residents. Can you believe that? Do you believe that crime follows the tourist? Crime against foreigners in heavily touristic cities abroad, especially very popular ones in Spain. We've told our viewers about this phenomenon for over a decade. The bad apples always end up where most of the tourists and foreign residents patronize and live. The 5 most dangerous cities in Spain. The criminals follow the tourists. Expats love to tell other expats on forums where the best expat neighborhoods are, and this is in all the countries. And guess what? The best neighborhoods are often the ones where the expats live, and they almost always have the most home invasions and robberies in the city. Barcelona is considered the most dangerous city in Spain, primarily due to its high rates of theft and property crime, especially in tourist-heavy areas like La Rambla. Other cities like Madrid, Seville, and Malaga also have significant crime rates, often targeting tourists. And the tourist areas of these cities have the most pickpockets, purse snatchers, and mobile phone snatchers, too. So how do you like them apples? Crime travel story number 5, and this is a warning story since we're on the subject of Spain and crime. Ontario couple stranded with a flat tire in Spain cautions others after being robbed on the side of the road. The couple rented a car for their vacation, and before getting on the road, they stopped at a roadside grocery mart to get some supplies for their road trip, and when they went back to their rental car, there were 2 suspicious men standing nearby. About 20 minutes after getting on the highway, they got a flat tire. Apparently, they waited and waited for someone to stop and help them, but no one stopped, and they just proceeded to fix the flat themselves. Now, just a side note here, we find it a bit strange that no one stopped to help this couple. But anyway, they popped open the trunk, took out their suitcases, and opened the spot where the spare tire was supposed to be, and it was gone. There was no spare tire. But that wasn't the worst of it. Out of nowhere, while they were trying to deal with the flat tire, the couple said a man came out of the long grass on the side of the road claiming he could help. He had on a safety jacket and he was pretending to be a good Samaritan, said the woman, adding that in the couple of minutes that they were behind the car, someone came out of the culvert and grabbed her purse, carrying their passports and all of their money, as well as her partner's camera bag. The couple say they were left stranded for the next 7 hours. They were robbed right there on the highway, and still no one stopped to help. They were stranded for 7 hours on the side of the road in a foreign country, and they probably couldn't speak Spanish either. What a nightmare for this couple. Well, that's what we have for you today. Each story has something in there that would make you think, is this a preventable crime? Yes, many crimes are preventable. It really comes down to taking care of ourselves by remaining aware of the types of crimes happening in the country we happen to be in at the time. Most of these things to be aware of are just common sense strategies that can be applied when you go abroad. Now, before some of you come out of the ring kicking and screaming, trying to denounce the messenger because we share stories of crimes against expats abroad, we know there's crime everywhere, and we know there's crime in the U.S. We're not discounting that at all. But number one, we only cover crimes against Americans abroad on this channel. And number 2, we don't compare crimes against Americans abroad to the USA. And number 3, we never sweep crime under the rug or put our heads in the sand about crime abroad. We cover crimes against foreigners living and vacationing in foreign countries. Now, the recent reports coming out are saying that around 60 to 100 Americans are murdered in Mexico annually. Now, I don't know about you. Everything might be relative, but we value our personal safety. And so to us, 60 to 100 Americans getting killed every year in Mexico is insane. And it is not worthy of our retirement travel or our money. It's just another place on the globe. That's why we live in a lovely small town in the USA where there isn't that much crime. And that's why we report on crimes against foreigners abroad, okay? And that's just Mexico. What about all the other countries? The industry is plagued with shills and propaganda, so don't ever take any people's comments that are contrary to the video as factual. If you can't take the truth, it's easy enough to just stay off this channel, okay? All right, everyone, that's all for now. Stay safe, take care, and bye-bye.